So I was an office manager for another company, and so I had ended up leaving that company and to become an office manager with another lady. So it was so funny. Like I walked into her office with her like the very first day of opening, and then she was just like, "Okay, so here you go. Now what do we do?" She wasn't credentialed or anything, so it was just like, "You go figure that out."
Welcome back to my channel, everyone. Today I have a special guest with me today, Nisha Clinkscale, the owner and founder of Heavenly in Credentialing, located in Mississippi. Welcome, Nisha.
Hi, thank you. How are you?
Pretty good. I am so excited to talk to you today because we connected over LinkedIn,
Yes.
and I saw and could see that you are a outsourced credentialing company. So I'm always
Yes.
telling my subscribers to look at outsourcing their credentialing, just because it is easier, and you guys are more, these types of companies that handle that are just more specialized. Tell me a little bit about your company and what services you offer.
Okay, sure. So, like you said, I am a medical credentialing company. And what I do is I just focus strictly on credentialing. So, I am like your beginning stage to getting your financial freedom for your business. I credential nurse practitioners, physicians, dentists, DME companies, anybody that needs credentialing, I credential. And so, it is a ton of paperwork. So, I try to make sure I save you stress by doing the paperwork for you and getting that out very accurately and timely, because that's very important as well. So I just, that's my only focus, and so it's beneficial to you as a company to outsource us, because then you'll be able to focus more on your patients and not worry about the paperwork.
Yeah, actually, that brings up a good point because I think about it. When I started my medical billing business, I was doing my own credentialing, and then I got
Yeah.
to the point where I just stopped offering it. I was just like, no, but I can give you um, names of companies that do it. And so what I should have been doing was saying I can do the credentialing and then outsourcing it to that
Yeah.
company instead of telling my clients altogether I didn't do it. And it just took me a super long time. And then at the end of it, sometimes it's not possible and sometimes it is. So tell me a little bit about what is the general time frame that it takes you to do credentialing for a practitioner. Let's say, what's the difference between like a therapist
Mhm.
and a medical physician in terms of time?
Okay, so timing for the credentialing process is all the same. All the insurance companies is going to tell you it could take up to 120 days. So anywhere from 60 to 120 days, I always say. I say skip the 30 days. They try to tell you because the beginning 30 days is getting it to them and they trying to look at it. But when it comes to me, since all I do is credentialing, I can have your paperwork completed by the end of the week. Normally, I try to, as soon as you send me back the required information that I send you that I need, I try to make sure I finish that within 2 days, and then I'll send it off. And then from there, it's just a waiting process. So we're constantly just waiting on the insurance companies to credential you. And then once they credential you, then we go into the contracting process. So I generally say 120 days, but I try to make sure I stay on them every 2 weeks. So therefore, we can try to lessen that 120 days.
Okay, awesome. So tell me, why should, I think I know the answer, but I want to hear a professional and an expert tell me, why should they really seriously look into outsourcing their credentialing instead of doing it in-house?
Okay. I always say to outsource to a professional due to the paperwork. When you get to credentialing, there are so many different applications that's online. You can choose the wrong application. Then, if you choose the wrong application, when you go to fill in all that time it took for you to fill all that in, you have to start all over again. So then
Yeah.
that's going to delay your process, which is going to delay your money, which is very important to the medical field because you want to get paid.
Yeah.
So I always say just leave it to the professionals that know what they're doing. We're going to choose the right forms. We're going to make sure that it's done accurately, and we have the time. You don't have the time. Sometimes you have to call the insurance companies. The forms might not be there, or something might be wrong, and then you don't have time to sit on the phone, wait for that, then fill it out. And then I always say, I know you love your front desk. I know it. but don't let them do it for themselves unless they know how to do it. Because if they go to put any type of wrong information on there, once again, we're back to a delayed process. And then they asking for more information. And then you have to go figure it out or go find it. And so I ask for everything that I know is needed up front. And therefore, we really won't have to bother you anymore. I could just ship everything out to them that's needed. And then I just go from there.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I understand too, it's like with credentialing,
Mm-hmm.
I tell people, I'm like, I like the idea. This is why it's important as a medical billing business. So if you're starting a medical billing business, or if you even have a medical billing business that's already established,
Yeah.
why outsourcing your credentialing is important, because you don't have the time.
No.
Um, and a professional does have the time, and they can do it properly because they're so experienced. This is all they do all day, every day, that they
Yes.
know those little things that you might not catch. Like, is this the right form? They already know it. And then on
Yes.
top of it, when you have somebody, really just speeding through your credentialing as a medical billing
Yes.
business, you're more likely to then be able to capture that account, that billing account. So somebody might just say, I just need you for credentialing.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're a medical billing business and you don't offer it, then you lose that connection and that link. So you should say,
Yes.
we take it. You outsource it to someone like Nisha, a professional outsourcing company. And then you're more likely and able to then go, hey, here's your credentialing. It's all done. And how about we just go ahead and sign you up for the billing contract as well, since
There
we've
you
already
go.
taken care of your credentialing. And so it's
Yes.
just a better and easier process, um, all around. So
Yes.
I know that in my experience, I've had issues with, the discussion about payment, how much, and what to charge per provider. What is your
Mm-hmm.
advice on that if you're talking to, because not only are medical billing businesses watching this, but also I get a lot of providers and
Oh yeah.
clinic managers who watch my channel, and they also, this is relevant to them too. Um, what is the pricing for this, and what is your advice in terms of how you go about uh, credentialing?
Okay. So I always tell providers, because like you said, they do have, you might have a provider that might either be brand new, or they just brought on somebody and they weren't credentialed with all the insurance companies. So they might have like a ton of them. Say they have maybe like 5 or 6. And then, everybody's prices vary for credentialing companies. So say somebody might charge like 250 per insurance company, per provider. That can get pretty pricey for 5, 6 insurance companies. So I always say, do your top money makers first, which is always Medicare, Medicaid, Blue Cross, and Blue Shield. Do those first. And then once you get those done, and then you start seeing patients and they're coming in the door and you're starting to see some revenue, then you can come back and add your other ones, just so it'll save money in your pocket. Because I always try to tell them, like, there's no way around us. Like, you have to be credentialed in order to accept the insurance. So you're going to need it. Even if you find a billing company and you're like, hey, I need you to do my billing, but if you're out of network, it's no benefit to you or that patient. So I try to just give them that little tip, just to get them started, so they don't really have to turn down too many patients.
And is there any type of like tricks of the trade? Is there something that you would recommend? Like, let's say if you were going to credential
Mhm.
payers, but also credential actual providers, would you say something like, well, let's credential your billing providers rather than all of your providers? Is there any kind of tricks to that they would benefit them knowing?
Yeah, so what I always say is, because I know they probably might have their billing company already set up, and then you as a billing company will probably know like the traffic for them more than I would. So that's where we'll come in handy together, and I'll say, okay, well, get with your billing company and ask them, like, who has the highest revenue of your patients that you see first, and then we can just move in that step and working together, so therefore we can get those credentialed. Because even though I might recommend those top 3, that might not be your highest, percentage of patients in your clinic. So I just try to tell them to go with what is working for you in your state and with your clinic. And then we'll just start with the credentialing right there. And then we can just move forward as they can.
Yeah, awesome. I'm always fascinated with people who go out on their own because
Yeah.
I talk to people all the time, and a lot of people have the skill set. They can do these things, but they're kind of like fearful, and
Yeah.
they just, why me or not me? Can it be me? But you went out successfully. You've gone out. You started this successful credentialing business. You've
Hmm.
taken all of your experience. Tell me a little bit about your background and what prompted you to start this business.
Okay, sure. I've been in healthcare for like, oh gosh, 10 plus years, like forever, really. So I am not just a credentialer. I also am a medical coder. I've been a medical coder for about 10 years. I have my CPC. I also have been an office manager, I'll say for about 4 years in different offices. I'm also a billing manager, so I have that
Okay.
experience. Yeah, so I'm just like a well-rounded. So what I tried to do was look at the market and see kind of where it's lacking. So you hear of like a lot of billing companies, and it's kind of like, here's a billing company here, here's one here. But the billing companies are trying to focus solely on making sure your clinic is running smoothly. So you don't have time to credential. So I learned credentialing probably, oh God, like 8 years ago. And I said, well, why not? Okay, I'm gonna do just strictly credentialing. And because it was like such a need for that, it was great for me to just be able to say, this is all that I offer. So you don't have to worry about me splitting my time. I could just go ahead and credential you, and now you're free, to be okay with just you and your billing company. So that was great. But then, like I said, I had the background experience like 10 plus
Yeah.
years. So that's what made me comfortable enough to step out and do it. So yeah.
Okay, so with all of that experience, you're a coder, you're a biller, you're an office manager. With all of those avenues and roads you could have gone down, what was it that made you decide credentialing what was for you?
Oh my goodness, I have a funny story to tell you about credentialing. So I was an office manager for another company, and so I had ended up leaving that company and to become an office manager with another lady. So it was so funny. Like I walked into her office with her like the very first day of opening, and then she was just like, "Okay, so here you go. Now what do we do?" She wasn't credentialed or anything, so it was just like, you go figure that out. So I had to credential her business, and then I had to learn how to credential her her and her doctors, because there was more than just her in the office. So going through each individual insurance company, learning the paperwork, and then I keep stuff. So I take notes. So like once I started, I just kept like backup sheets just in case I had to do it again, which I did. So that is how I fell in love with credentialing. And I don't know, I'm a paperwork freak. So doing paperwork did not bother me. And so then once from there, like I started learning the different states, and then it just became interesting to see how every state is like different with the paperwork and stuff. So I just been doing it ever since then.
Interesting. That's a good
Yeah,
story. You just walk into a business and you're like,
I walked in literally the first day.
awesome. Okay, so if a person, like a medical billing company like myself, or a doctor or nurse practitioner calls you and wants you to do their credentialing for them, what
Uh-huh.
does it look like in terms of follow up and the communication for this process?
Okay, so I'll just walk you through a day in the credentialing life.
Okay.
So once you reach out to me, whether it's via any type of social media outlet, or if you reach me on my website, I'm going to do a follow-up phone call with you, because I like to speak with you first just to make sure we have that communication first. Then from there, I'll send you over my HIPAA form. I'll send you over my contract, which you can tell me exactly your services. From there, I send you over a confirmation page for your records, just to make sure that what you communicated with me was right. Once we do all of that, I actually have a form that I have made up, which has every single piece of information I need to send over to the insurance company. So I will send you that. Once you send me all that information, I'm good to go. That's when I'll start your credentialing process. And I do follow ups with you. So once I've submitted everything, I'm going to email you and let you know this has been started. And then every 2 weeks, I am going to bother the insurance company, and I'm going to give you a follow up just to reassure you that I did not just take your money and disappear, but I'm actually working, and I'm here working for you. So I want you to feel reassured and comfortable in choosing me and my business. So I make sure to give you those 2 week follow ups just so you'll know the process of what's going on.
Yeah, that's awesome to know, because that is super important. That
Hmm.
sometimes you don't get a daily update, and because you're outsourced, people don't know exactly what you're doing, but you are out in the background working. And trust me,
Right.
take it from somebody who has done credentialing. It is a long process. It takes a lot of back and forth. You're waiting for emails, you're waiting for responses. So it's not something that can you can't get a daily update on it sometimes. So you're not going to get that. So it's important to understand that these credentialing companies are working very
Yes.
hard. It takes a while. They're working. You get your updates on like a whatever you guys have decided in terms of what your updates would be like. But don't expect like daily follow-ups, because they're not in the office with you to knock on their door
Right.
and go, hey Nisha, how's that credentialing going? You don't
Exactly.
have access to them that way. That's pretty good information to know. And so also, you're located in Mississippi, which is in
Yes.
the southern part of the United States. But do you do credentialing nationwide, or are you relegated to a region?
Oh, yes. So the best thing about credentialing is it is nationwide. It doesn't matter what state you are in, I can credential you because it's just really paperwork. And, I just go on there according to your state and I just follow the laws and guidelines of your state. But yes, so you don't have to worry about being local. I can do you even if you're in New York, I can credential you. So that's the best part about it. Yeah.
Awesome. I say it, and I've said it many times before, like almost like a throwaway. Like, you can outsource your credentialing. And I say it
Yeah.
especially on my lives. You can outsource your credentialing, and then I move on to something else.
Yeah.
But it's super important, and it's such a good choice and business decision to outsource, because then you have no restrictions. Because a lot of people
Right.
do call and they ask for medical billing businesses to out credential, and then you'll be like, well, you'll either say you can't, or you'll do it, and then it'll just be a mess because
Right.
you don't have time for it. um,
Hmm.
or you're just constantly messing up and having to redo it, in 120 days turns into something else. So now that I have a connection and an actual person I could kind of like send them to, which is you and your company, now I'm like, let's do this video so I can let people know, and so people can understand exactly what this is,
Yes.
so that they put you on their list and they connect with you. All of your information will be down below, um,
Okay.
so that they can connect with you. And do you have any social medias, or where can we reach you if they are interested in outsourcing to you?
Yes, I do. So, like you said, I have my website, which is www.heavenlyinkcredentialing.com, or they can reach me by my business phone, which is area code 228-424-6436. And I do have social media. I have Facebook, which you can reach me at Heavenly Ink Credentialing on Facebook. Instagram says the same thing, Heavenly Ink Credentialing, all lowercase. And then if you try to reach me on LinkedIn, it's actually going to be under my name, Nisha Clinkscale. So I do have those sources. If you could, want to reach me at any of those, that would be fine.
Thank you so much, Nisha, for coming out and taking the time out of your day to come to my channel and explain a little bit about what you do for credentialing. I know a lot of people are interested in this, and it's always my recommendation that you outsource your credentialing, especially if you're a medical billing business, just because it's just more cost effective and time effective.
Mhm.
Um, and So you're located in Mississippi, but you operate nationwide. All of your information is going to be in the description box below. So if you're interested in connecting with Nisha right now, do it now if you've got a business, or if you're opening up a business and you want to connect, go ahead and send her a hi, do a quick follow. And I wish you all the best in your future goals for opening your businesses and outsourcing your credentialing. Remember that. So thank you, Nisha, and you have a wonderful day.
Thank you so much for having me. I truly appreciate it. And you have a blessed day as well.